Hi folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. Still got some white stuff on the ground. Probably will be melting. Some of it will be melting off today. We're supposed to get up in the low 40s. And then over the next 7 days, it'll be doing this. We'll have a few really cold days and a few maybe even 50-degree days. And then next weekend, it gets pretty cold again, single-digit lows and stuff like that. It's been crazy busy the last few days. This is what I'm telling you, folks. When it comes to prepping, some of you folks are old enough. Most of you are old enough to know what Murphy's Law. Okay, you know what that is. So it's not something that's talked. When I was a kid, everyone talked about, oh, Murphy's Law. If you don't know what it is, go look it up. But when things get hard, things get bad. I don't know. I don't know what other way to say that. I got a tickle in my throat. Sorry, I need a sip of coffee. But here we have weather it's not extreme, okay? We got 5-6 inches of snow, depending on where you're at. Maybe 4 inches to 6 inches, depending on where you're living around here. Certainly nothing extreme, but it makes things difficult, okay? We also had a little ice before that. And as expected, it should be expected anyways, when the roads are rough, that's when medical things happen, or houses catch on fire, or vehicles slide off in the ditch. And so I'm telling you, your preparations should be not just, oh, well, what, it's a nice, beautiful, sunny day. What do I need to survive? Your preparations should be, what are the absolute worst possible conditions that I can fathom up? And then the doo-doo hits the fan, okay? It's in the middle of a tornado. And things are flying around, and then, so-and-so has a heart attack, or, whatever it is. We've experienced, I've been out in horrible storms, high winds, threats of tornadoes, and, the animals run through the fence, knock it down, and they're all scattered all over the place, so you're trying to gather them up. I mean, there's all kinds of scenarios. So I'm telling you, your preparations should not be, don't be a fair weather type of person. Don't be a spring soldier, okay? Be a hardened, ready, worst case scenario, because I assure you it'll happen. And the last several days for myself and for our team, that's been the case. It's just been busy. But the weather, like I said, next weekend, it looks like it's going to get pretty cold again. In fact, I thought I'd show you this. If you live in West Plains, Missouri, or in that area, that's where that little pink dot is there. They're calling for negative 82-degree wind chill. Wind chills of negative 82. I'm sure that's incorrect. In fact, when I saw it posted by the National Weather Service, they said it was a glitch and laughed about it. But yeah, if you live near West Plains, Missouri, which is south of me, you should probably get really ready. Speaking of weather and disasters and stuff like that, these California fires are just absolutely devastating. I don't know how much you've paid attention to it and watched, but whole neighborhoods, thousands, I would guess, from just the look of it. It'd have to be in the thousands of homes and structures are completely, burned to the foundation. Cars, businesses, schools, everything, banks, hospitals, doctors' offices, complete annihilation. And I feel, I can't imagine it. I mean, I've been on many different fires, but I can't imagine that level of destruction. It's just awful. And they're still fighting problems there and fires, and they're still trying to bring resources in. This video, I don't want to get into the politics of it and the conspiracy of it. It's awful. And California most definitely dropped the ball on this one through various different ways. But anyways, the point that I'm wanting to make with this is compare this to the Carolinas. Remember the Hurricane Helene came up, and the Carolinas and in eastern Tennessee, but it was mostly focused in the harsh damage was focused in the Carolinas. And they're still reeling from that. There's still people that don't have homes there. There's still roads that they're trying to, make repairable and where people can get through. It's still devastating. And they're in wintertime. All this cold weather, yeah, that's going right through there. All the snow that we've had, that's gone through there. Have you stopped and think about the response? As of right now, it appears as if there's a much bigger response towards California. Now, you could make an argument that the dollar amount of damage is probably going to be much greater in California than in the Carolinas. A big part of that is because the value of the properties are a lot more. You're dealing with lots of millionaires and celebrities and important people with their multi-million-dollar homes versus the Carolinas, a lot of middle class, lower middle class people. I mean, definitely some upper class people in those areas. I'm sure there were some, very wealthy homes that got hit. But for the most part, lower middle class people. Is that a reason on its own? Could it be that predominantly where California was struck was a liberal area versus Carolinas, a conservative area? I don't know. I can tell you this, that once again, if you think that for any reason whatsoever, that if something bad is going to happen, whether it's fires, hurricanes, tornadoes, snowstorms, ice storms, earthquakes, volcanoes, I mean, all the possible natural things that could happen. If you think that if the grid goes down, if there's a terrorist attack, if there's a train wreck where there's chemicals being burned up in the atmosphere, anything that could possibly happen. If you think for any minute that you will be taken care of and that everything's going to be okay because government's going to do it, I don't even know what to tell you. You're grossly mistaken. All these things that happen, you should have learned a long time ago that whatever kind of government is not going to be there. Your local governments are usually the ones that actually want to. I'm not saying always, but because a lot of times the local government, the local officials, the local responders and stuff live in the affected areas, they've got skin in the game and they want to see it done. But a lot of times they don't have the manpower and resources. Most local municipalities and local county governments and local, responder organizations, a lot of them like ours are nonprofit, a lot of the, fire departments are volunteer nonprofit. They don't have the money and the resources to fix everything. If they did, they'd probably be done a whole lot better. So then that's when the state and especially the feds get involved. You can't plan on that being taken care of. And you can't plan on your insurance fixing things either. Because like in the Carolinas and in California, it's showing that the insurance companies, how many reports we're hearing now, that they're not covered for that. The insurance company, cut back on their coverage or canceled them, or they're just not covered for floods. They're not covered for fires. Well, what in the world do you have homeowners insurance for? So when the termites eat it up, it falls apart. We don't cover termite coverage either. I mean, it's ridiculous. This is a message that I have been trying to get across to everyone that's ever watched my channel for years now. And I know most of you get it. So I know in some ways I'm preaching to the choir. But there's still a few of you backsliders in the choir, I guess. You cannot depend upon government, upon insurance companies, upon businesses. You can't even really depend upon nonprofits. There are some great nonprofits out there that do great work. Grindstone Ministries is one of them. Ours. There's several others. But you can't depend upon them. That's the thing. Because they're just individuals, and they're trying to raise money, and they're trying to do the best they can. And not everyone gets helped by these places. Ours, not everyone. Some people, but not everyone. You cannot count on others to take care of you in a disaster, even your neighbors, because they're going to be trying to take care of themselves. This is why you need to be self-sufficient as much as you possibly can. Don't get in the comments and say, well, you can't be completely self-sufficient. Number one, that's not true. And number two, I'm not saying you have to be completely. You have to be in a place where you can survive on your own. And you need to have plans, okay? If your house gets washed away in a flood, what's your plan? If it burns to the ground, what's your plan? What's your plan? An earthquake happens, a tornado, what's your plan? And you need to think that out. And it's hard sometimes. It's easy to say, well, I'm going to have, these 25 buckets of beans and rice. And when society collapses, we're just going to live off of those beans and rice. What do you do when those beans and rice get washed away, or blown away, or bugs get in them, or whatever? What do you do then? You need to think about this kind of stuff. What do you do when you're injured, when you're sick, when your age is catching up with you? What do you do then? What do you do when you have others to take care of? A Murphy's Law. You're having a big family birthday party at your house, and the doo-doo hits the fan, and now you've got 15, 20 people under your roof that you weren't planning for, and now you got to kind of survive. What's your plan? This is what everybody needs to be doing. Figuring out the most extreme scenarios that you can come up with, and then how to survive them. And the thing is, things seem to be just worsening, right? These extreme scenarios are happening more and more often. And you need to figure out a way to get through them. I don't know that answer for you. Every situation's unique. I understand there's money and there's resources and all these things. But you need to be planning, because I'm telling you, things aren't going to miraculously just get better and all the bad stuff go away come January 20th. It's just getting started, folks. You need to be getting ready, figuring out how to be self-sufficient, how to be able to survive on your own as much as possible, produce what you need as much as possible, protect your own, yourself, your family as much as possible, know how to take care of them when they're sick, when they're injured, all of that stuff. You need to know how to do as much as possible on your own if you hope to really get through all this. It's time to get your houses in order and prepare yourselves mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next video.